Welcome to ITB Berlin's Videocast briefing, where we dive into the most pressing issues shaping global travel. I'm your host, Charlotte Lamp Davies, with a bright approach, and today we're revisiting one of the industry's most debated topics, overtourism. We're yet to find a better word for that, I believe, and we're going to look at it from the perspective in a post-pandemic world. Tourism, as we know, has rebounded strongly. But in destinations like Germany, Spain, and Italy, the recovery also brings renewed, shall we say, pressures to housing markets, local communities, and infrastructure. So today we'll explore how destinations and the private sector can really balance economic gain with social and environmental sustainability. With me, I have three wonderful experts, and I am very, very grateful for that. I will introduce them one by one, and then you'll get to know them much better. It is Dr. Ellen Madeker, Head of Public Policy for DACH and CEE at Airbnb. Welcome, Ellen.
Hi, Charlotte.
And we have Sven Liebert, General Secretary from Bundesverband der deutschen Tourismuswirtschaft. Hi, Sven.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And last but not least, we have Álvaro Blanco Volmer, Councillor, Director Turespaña von Deutschland. Hi, Álvaro.
Hi, Charlotte. Hola. ¿Qué tal?
Very well, very well. Before we dive in a little bit further, Ellen, why don't we start with you? Tell us a little bit about your role at Airbnb, please.
Of course, happy to. So I lead public policy, which includes partnerships for the German-speaking regions. So I look after Germany, Austria, and Switzerland mainly, but also after Central and Eastern Europe at Airbnb. And together with my team, we work with cities and governments on a daily basis, basically, from Berlin to Warsaw. And we work on rules together with governments, both on a city level, regional level, national level, to strengthen housing protection on the one hand, but also develop the future of tourism in ways that benefit all stakeholders. So residents, local communities, and cities they call home, hosts and guests.
Fantastic. That's great. That is indeed also why you are so very relevant on this particular panel. Sven, over to you. How about you and your role at the, shall we say, Federal Association of the German Tourism Industry?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm glad that we have this discussion here. As you mentioned, Secretary General sounds quite formal. It's nothing more than just managing director of the association. The BTW, so the Federal Association of German Tourism Industry, is here in Germany the umbrella organization. So we are bringing together all different dimensions of tourism. For example, of course, we have different members like the Hotel Association, the German Travel Association. So different associations in one pillar. And the second, of course, the different tourism companies. And I'm the managing director trying to bring together these different perspectives of incoming, outgoing, and domestic tourism. And of course, looking for joint solutions regarding this topic you just mentioned, unbalanced tourism we would like to talk about. And so I'm very much looking forward about our discussion here.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. You are the man with the finger on his pulse, certainly as far as very much the German market is concerned. And Álvaro, last but not least, do share a little bit with us the work that you are undertaking at Turespaña, please.
Thank you. Also glad to be here today together with my friends. As director of Turespaña at the Spanish embassy in Berlin, my team and our offices in Frankfurt and in Munich, we represent the Spanish Tourism Administration in Germany. Our mission is to promote Spain as the ideal travel destination in all its diversity, and to show that Spain is much more than sand and beaches, that we are offering a rich cultural, natural, gastronomic offer spread across the entire country. And to achieve this, we are collaborating with institutions like Sven's institution, with media, tour operators, for sure, with travel agencies. And we support, together with other Spanish administrations, projects that highlight new and lesser known regions in Spain. And last but not least, our focus is not on growth at any cost, but rather on making tourism more sustainable, balanced, diverse, and more profitable.
Indeed, what a great introduction there, and it gives us a very good overview of all the work that you guys are involved with over there. Yes, overtourism, as we still have to call it, I think to some extent. Although Sven, what did you just call it before?
I just call it unbalanced tourism because that's the official phrase from the European Commission. That it's more like about stability, and that that's an unbalanced situation. Yeah.
Indeed, already we have a better word, but it is a complex issue, and it really affects absolutely everyone differently. But I'm wondering, before I dive into some more specific questions for each of you, in one sentence, what is the biggest challenge that your specific organization faces when addressing the topic? Ellen, I will go to you first, please.
Of course. So I agree with you, first of all. It's a challenge for the whole industry that cannot be just solved by one player. And that's why it's so great that we have this kind of discussions, and that associations like Sven's, for example, bring together players to sit at one table and discuss solutions. You wanted one sentence. I'm aware of that. It will be two. So Airbnb, as you know, is both a verb and a noun, right? And we're proud of this. So you can Airbnb your place, or you can book an Airbnb. So that comes with a lot of, awareness and recognition, which is great. But at the same time, our brand is also often treated as a proxy for the entire STR sector. And sometimes, not always, we're expected to address certain dynamics that extend well beyond our platform and even our industry. And that's a challenge.
Yes, absolutely. I can fully appreciate that. Sven, the biggest challenge in one sentence, maybe two, if I'm being generous here.
The biggest challenge is to keep us going in finding a common position regarding this topic. Because if we look what happened in the past, it was always like that the destination should do it, because the destinations, of course, are having some certain tools to deal with unbalanced tourism. But what we really believe is that we need to find a joint position over the whole value chain about responsibility, about defining our tools to keep us going, because we really believe that's one of the biggest questions about how future-proof is tourism, because we are not about like losing our customers. We are about like losing destinations and the local communities. And that is something like maybe the biggest potential threat about the miracle of tourism, which is arming our business and the idea of tourism. So that is maybe the most challenging, keeping all people on board, the whole value chain, defining the tools and responsibility. And that's what we are doing right now.
That's a great sentence. It's a long sentence, but it was a good one. I liked it. I liked it very much. And responsibility, huh? We are looking for responsibility from all parties here. Álvaro, biggest challenge for you guys?
Well, for us, it is balancing the promotion of Spain's global appeal with some critical needs. The need to distribute tourism flows sustainably across regions and seasons, benefiting our local communities and preserving our cultural heritage. And probably the key question is improving social perception and acceptance of tourism, and of Spain being a leading tourism country.
Wonderful again. Álvaro, I'm going to stay with you because, as you rightly pointed out, and as certainly everybody in our industry know, Spain is one of Europe's most visited countries. I have just returned last night from the beautiful city of Barcelona, and as always, just a phenomenal joy. As indeed are so many other destinations in Spain. So how do you balance, going back to you started this in your previous sentence, but how do you balance the economic benefits of tourism with, should we say, the need to protect local communities and cultural heritage?
Well, you are right. Spain is one of the world's tourism leaders, and we are welcoming year after year, more than 80 million international visitors annually. And balancing the economic gains from this influx with environmental, social, and cultural sustainability has become the central policy challenge for Spanish institutions, for the government, and for the regions. What really works in tourism management is not one single measure. We think it's a combination of strategy, data, and social consensus. So first, you need let's say, a long-term national framework. And recently, Spain has adopted, last week to be precise, the so-called Estrategia España Turismo 2030, the Spanish national strategy for the years in the horizon of 2030. And this strategy puts sustainability, digitalization, and inclusiveness at the core of the tourism policy. So we think it's essential to have coherence between national, regional, and local levels. Second, I think data and technology make the real difference. We've got a smart tourism destination network since some years, actually with more than 680 members, collecting and analyzing real-time information to manage visitor flows, and so avoiding, in the best case, the overcrowding. And third, the challenge is also to listen to our citizens. So Turespaña has carried out a survey on social acceptance of tourism to better understand how residents are perceiving tourism and how to strengthen the balance between visitors and local life. And so we have adopted some measures, for instance, creating the national register of holiday rentals. Ellen may talk about this register too, and reaching agreements with the platforms to remove illegal listings. A second measure has been to create the program Experiencias Turismo de España, a program to spread demand and promote new authentic experiences in Spain. And finally, to mention just a few, reaching local measures to protect quality of life of the local residents. So, in short, what really works is not less tourism, but better managed tourism.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's very much also what Sven was alerting to earlier. Sven, if I can go to you, please, from your association's perspective, you represent a wide range of tourism businesses such as travel agents, tour operators, airlines, hotels, and so on. What role do tour operators and agencies play in guiding tourists, shall we say, away from some of these hotspots? Because if I may, the 80 million tourists that go to Spain, I believe, I've read something crazy, like 70 million of them, they go to the major hotspots. So we need to get more people into the rest of Spain, let alone the rest of the world. But back to you, Sven. What do you do to guide and help your members?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so first of all, I mean, to answer your question, I think tour operators are having maybe one of the biggest chance in this discussion. Huh? So, I mean, the crucial point for a tour operator is a happy customer. So, of course, it's about like this magical 2 weeks in your year where you would like to enjoy your holiday in, I don't know, in perfect sunlight, having a glass of wine, walking through the sand, all those kind of images in our head. That is maybe the crucial point for the tour operator, to have a happy customer, that he or she returns with succeeding all the expectations. And what the tour operators are seeing is that, of course, in this debate, maybe we are losing parts of the local communities, and it's of course having a huge impact on the experience of the customer, which is like a potential threat. So you need a happy customer in a healthy environment with a good local community to have this idealistic picture of the miracle of tourism. And so the tour operators are pretty much aware about what is going on. But on the other hand, I think our perspective is always like, let's have a look on the value chain. What can we do together? Because it's not the tour operator on his own who is fostering their solution. It's always about a mixture of different measures. So of course, if you widen the horizon, you widen the times, so to say, not the summer season, extending the summer seasons. Of course, you need some certain readiness in the destination. Are the hotels open? Are the gastronomy infrastructure, is it there? Are the beaches prepared for the tourists? All these kind of small and middle-sized businesses are in the whole value chain, and it's like an ecosystem which needs to talk to each other. So the tour operators having maybe one big advantage, they can make nice offers and explaining their customers, I don't know, different opportunities, value for money proposition, or even if you don't want to go to the typical destinations, what else can we offer? But nevertheless, it's a huge discussion about the whole value chain, how to move tourists from A to B without a feeling that they are losing quality, because that's nothing we would like to achieve. It's more like that the customer decided by him or her own, I choose a different destination to a different time on my own wish. But nevertheless, the quality of the holiday experience should be the same. One last sentence. You asked about what can we do as an association. I think associations play a crucial role in this whole discussion because we try to be a natural ground on this quite emotional debate. We are talking about their people own environment. So we are always guests at someone's place, so to say. So what we are trying to do is to keep this discussion ongoing, like this tourism roundtable we had together with Álvaro, for example, and of course with Ellen, to have a look on the tools we are having and to formulate a joint position and a joint responsibility. Because we really believe is that we need to have this discussion about the whole value chain to keep all people on board, that the customer just needs to make the right decision, but we are in the offering, we are right together with the destinations. And then it gets a fuller picture. So it's not one sector alone, it's the huge combination, which even makes it more complicated.
Yeah, it is indeed. But, I really do have a sense that we are moving the needle finally, because it's a big topic. We're talking about it, but it's more than that. We're actually all beginning to be much more willing to do something about it. Ellen, I'll come to you. I happen to personally be a very, very big fan of Airbnb, and goodness knows where the industry would have been without it. There was disruption happening suddenly when we didn't even knew that we needed it, and what a great thing it's been for the industry. But it has to be said, of course, that the company is sometimes at the center of this particular debate that we're discussing today. So I'd love to hear from you what specific measures that you guys are taking to work with city governments and help reduce, shall we say, the impact of this sort of short-term rental on housing for the locals and for the local community.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for the question, Charlotte. And you're right, we're often at the center of the debate. On the other hand, please allow me this one sentence. Not all cities want to reduce short-term rentals, right? So many cities, actually, many smaller and medium-sized cities such as Porto, for example, in Portugal, they see the power and the potential of short-term rentals as ecosystems that boost renovations, for example, and that boost urban development. So there is a lot to talk about that. Particularly when it comes to the power of platform to disperse tourism. Now, you've asked me about cities and how we work with them. I very much loved the 360 degrees approach that Álvaro just presented. I noted it down here: strategy, data, and consensus, and I can 100% subscribe to that. So first of all, we always start with transparency and data, because we, as a platform, we have data and we share it. We have a data portal that provides data about Airbnb, guest flows, number of listings, and so on. And we call it the city portal. And in Germany, we have around 50 cities and destination management orgs that use this city portal already. It's free of charge, it's super easy to use, and it's a good basis really for then ongoing cooperation. So that's one thing, data and transparency. And then, of course, when it comes to this debate, at some point regulation comes in. And we do our very best to talk about what's proportionate and fair regulation. That means good regulation means, on the one hand, it protects home sharing, like that's what Airbnb was all about when it was founded, right? And is still about. So it protects home sharing, people who want to benefit from tourism and open the doors to guests, something that has existed like forever in Europe. But also, on the other hand, protects also the citizens and housing, because of course cities first and foremost should be there for the people who live in them, and that's core to what we do and how we see this. So there needs to be a balance between these two goods, and we work towards this balance and work help to find this. Last but not least, if I may, when it comes to this regulation, it gets a bit more technical, but I think sometimes it's necessary. There is a new EU regulations framework on the horizon. It should be implemented by May 2026, and it's about how platforms share data with governments. And this is, I think, really a key piece in the next years of when it comes to the regulation of the whole sector, because a good overview of the data available will help shape good and fair regulations for the whole industry.
Thanks for that. I mean, again, the whole collaboration, and I feel it very much even on this panel because you guys know each other very well. So it's very easy to see that there is a lot of collaboration going on, and that obviously extends into the local communities as well. So thanks for that, Ellen. Álvaro, if I may, I'd like to know a little bit more about sort of the marketing side of all your efforts, because what marketing strategies is Spain using to sort of promote, shall we say, these more off the beaten tracks or paths?
Well, thanks for the question. Turespaña and other Spanish tourism boards have been promoting lesser known destinations since decades. For instance, with campaigns like the España Verde, the Green Spain, to promote the lush northern regions, Galicia, Asturias, Cantabria, the Basque Country, as eco-friendly and natural cultural alternatives to the most iconic cities or coastal resorts, or the Pilgrim's Way to Santiago, the Pyrenees, our national parks, or our UNESCO heritage sites, just to mention a few. But now our brand new campaign, the so-called Think You Know Spain, Think Again, aims at redefining Spain's image as a travel destination. And we are trying to emphasize or trying to promote exclusively all these hidden gems through authentic experiences, where, for instance, platforms like Airbnb are key, are playing also a key role, because they can offer lodging in places where probably there is no hotel. So thanks to these platforms, we are having success in spreading all over the country the tourists that like to visit this unknown Spain.
So it's a mind shift, isn't it? It's very much a mind shift, and it's what you promote and what you see is what you want. But if we keep just promoting Barcelona, then that's where people go, right?
This campaign represents undoubtedly a strategic shift towards a more balanced and responsible tourism model in Spain. Yes.
Absolutely. Ellen, I will therefore go straight back to you again, because again, here, with this particular type of campaign and pushing, new destinations, maybe within a particular country, what do you, lessons learned, in terms of how you work with local communities when you come into these I know it happens in Germany as well, of course, which is one of your sort of key hotspots. But what do you do then to sort of enforce the rental rules with these local communities who might be new to Airbnb?
Good question. By the way, speaking of rural and the countryside and nature, this is going to be our big topic for ITB 2026. So just on the cities and the impact of short-term rentals in general and Airbnb in particular, always worth having a look at the data. In Germany, for example, we have commissioned this study with this independent research institute, Fraunhofer, quite a big name in Germany, actually, that have looked at the impact of listings on Airbnb. They looked at entire homes on Airbnb, on the housing stock in Germany, and on rental prices. And you don't have to go through the whole study. I'll do the spoiler for you. The impact on rents is not significant, and the same goes for the overall housing stock. And this is simply because the numbers are too small. It's also clear that we don't want Airbnb to make local housing less affordable. So this is why, particularly, we advocate for fair rules. What we do in Berlin, for example, as an example, there is local regulation that has been around for a long, long time, and it has a very complicated German name. It's called the Zweckentfremdungsverbotsgesetz, and we think it's beautiful. And it foresees mandatory registration numbers or contact details that need to be displayed on the platforms. And we support this regulation. We've even implemented an additional format check to make it work even better. And we share data through the city portal I mentioned earlier with a number of Berlin districts. So there is a lot going on. And the overall goal is really to prevent abuse, enable home sharing, and support housing protection. And this is not new, right? So we have been doing this for years.
Absolutely. Thanks for that insight, and good to know that you are working with everyone across all sort of levels. Sven, maybe a little provocative question for you here. I wonder, is it profitable to promote, sustainable and off-season travel, anything off the beaten track? What are the incentives that we might give tourism companies to really go down this route so Álvaro's campaign for rural Spain can be a massive success?
What I first said was this kind of unbalanced tourism is maybe the question of, is our sector future proof or not? So, and of course, companies are having like two different minds. One is like this profitability mind. Of course, they are doing it because they try to keep the company stable, to pay their customer, to pay their employers and all those kind of stuff. And it's about revenues. But on the other hand, it's about like a social responsibility they're having. And those two arguments are always in their head when they argue about like this unbalanced tourism phenomena we have to tackle. Nevertheless, I really believe that if we be not able to find their joint solutions, which will be scaled all over the world in different destinations, because it's just the beginning about like global traveling. It's getting massively with different numbers. So we are just like on the beginning about what is going to happen. This is something which is, of course, affecting the profitability of companies on the long term. So there is an internal motivation for those companies to find their solutions. After COVID, of course, maybe this kind of debate was a bit lacking behind, because we were just a bit surprised that we survived, so to say, because it was like a nearly death situation for all those guys working in tourism and travel industry. But after this, now we see that this kind of unbalanced tourism is becoming bigger and bigger, and it's something about the bigger questions we have to answer, because otherwise even our business models will not be stable. Why that? As I already told, we try to keep the environment we are working in stable of course, on the ecological side, on the social side, and nevertheless, we need to have happy customers that they are going to rebook. If they are getting this third time in a row a shitty holiday, so to say, they will not book us again. So it's about like how to tackle this this discussion together with the local communities to keep it stable, to keep it sustainable. That I don't know, that we would love to see Spain in the next 10 years every year or whatever. That I love to travel to Spain and that are not getting any kind of bad reactions by the local communities, and that is our joint responsibility. So it is on the long term a question of profitability. That's right.
Absolutely. Loving the insight there, Sven. I can't believe it, but it's actually time to wrap up. I mean, we will all need to come together at ITB Berlin in March for a much deeper conversation. But as we begin to think about wrapping up, finally, I want to go to you again, Sven, please. What does a successful, sustainable tourism kind of future look like for your organization? So this is in an ideal world. This is what you're hoping for your organization.
Good that you prepared the smallest question for the end of the round.
I know. The long sentence coming.
I try to answer it in one, maybe two political sentences. So first of all, I think it's about like getting the right mindset that if we are sending our customers from all over the world to Germany, or all our German customers in the world, that we have a certain joint responsibility what is going on in international destinations and even in our destinations at home. This is a change of mindset, which is even more important after the COVID pandemic, because the numbers will be much more increasing. We are talking about the Asians who are going to travel, Indians who are going to travel. Numbers going to be huge, and Europe is just a small light in the international context of traveling. So we have to be prepared. And I would love to see us on the European continent maybe to be the right guys in the right time to find their solutions that other destinations are doing the copycats. You know what I mean? So if we just believe that these small numbers we are representing in international travel, that we have this in mind, that we are able to create their joint solutions with over the value chain together with destinations, and that other destinations internationally are doing the copycats from our idea, because otherwise I think we will losing on the long track this kind of miracle of traveling, getting into touch with new nationalities, enjoying great food, coming relaxed home after nice holidays. All these kind of miracles should not stop, even in the world we are seeing right now. And that's maybe something like an optimistic outlook what's going to happen. We will do our best that it's going to be this way.
Brilliant. I think in short, you want to create a ripple effect that everybody looks up to. And so the rings in the water grow and grow and grow. And that's how
out of economic and social stability, because the better business model is always wins, but that needs to keep in mind the local communities. Otherwise, the business model is incomplete.
Absolutely. Álvaro, I'll ask you the same question as we wrap up, please. What does the successful sustainable tourism future look like in an ideal world from your organization's perspective?
Well, I think it is a future where destinations, countries no longer measure success only in arrivals or overnight stays, but also in value created for people, places, and the environment. Therefore, we need, in this ideal future, brave political decisions for the long term, not in the short political term from a legislature. Brave political decisions. Across Europe, I believe that the next decade will be about cooperation and shared standards. Some of these questions have been addressed here today, for instance, data interchange, interoperability. To have common sustainability indicators, we do have this framework that has been carried out by UN Tourism under the presidency of Austria and Spain. We need joint action to manage mobility, housing, climate impacts. Tourism doesn't stop at borders, and neither should be the solutions affecting tourism.
Thank you very much. Last words to you, Ellen. What, in an ideal world for Airbnb, does sort of a sustainable future look like?
Yeah, I had some time to reflect while the two gentlemen were speaking, so I'll give you a bit more of a dreamy answer. So I dream of a tourism where guests make real connections and understand what it really means to care for a place rather than to consume it. And this is what home sharing tourism does. And that's why I think that Airbnb will play a key role in shaping the future of sustainable tourism.
I think that is very, very beautifully put. And I could absolutely not agree more. Thank you, Ellen, Sven, and Álvaro. It's been a most insightful discussion. We will definitely have to come back and have another go at this because there's still so much to uncover. But it's very, very clear, I think, that the word overtourism is, whatever words we want to really use here, it isn't just about the numbers. It's very much, of course, as you have alluded to, about the people and the places and the priorities and getting under the skin of a place and really, as Ellen just said, get to love it. We will be addressing the issue for sure further here at ITB Berlin, both on the podcasts, but also at the convention next year in March, where it's very much going to be on the agenda. So it remains for me again to say thank you very much. Thank you, Ellen, Álvaro, and Sven. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And of course, to our viewers, we thank you for joining this little videocast briefing. Stay tuned for more, particularly podcasts and conversations that shape the future of travel here at ITB Berlin. So from me, thank you. And until next time, safe travels.